Welcome to the Postmortem Operation Guides. My name is Ziona, and I will be walking you through Hard Mode Operation 9. This is the third boss in Terror from Beyond. For more information and details, please visit the written website at postmortem-guides.com. Like Story Mode, this is a two-phase fight. In Phase 1, players need to pair up to bring down the Data Core shields, kill the Data Cores, and kill the ads. Hard Mode adds two mechanics to this phase. Each color phase has a shorter time limit ranging from 70 seconds for blue to 50 seconds for yellow. Players also need to obtain the obtuse buff by killing the floating orb that matches their color. These neutral orbs will spawn during the appropriate color phase and can be killed up to any time in Phase 1, including the transition period to Phase 2. Phase 1 continues to use the same color phase order as Story Mode: blue, orange, purple, yellow. The associated Data Core pairs continue to be random. In Phase 2, the basic mechanics remain the same as Story Mode. Players must step on the matching colored circles when they spawn. In Hard Mode, ads continue to spawn throughout the phase, and one player will be targeted for deletion with a random color. Someone with the matching color obtuse buff gained in Phase 1 must stand on that person to block the attack. Failure to block the attack will one-shot the target and any nearby players. For our group, we found that pairing a DPS with a tank or healer and always using the DPS for the clicker in Phase 1 worked best. If you have a wide spread in your DPS damage output, arrange to have your best DPS available to kill during the yellow phase. We also loosely identified who would cover the first deletions in Phase 2 so that we didn't accidentally use both obtuse buffs. Orbs always spawn at the gaps to the north and south and then circle around the room. Since the fight countdowns don't begin until the point where we click on the blue panel, we go ahead and kill the ads and the blue orbs before clicking. As soon as the appropriate color steps into the middle, the colored panel becomes visible and can be clicked. If that person leaves the center, the panel will deactivate until he is back in the circle. The other player clicks the panel and begins a channeled cast. This will drop shields off a random pair of Data Cores. Data Core pairs are always directly across the room from each other. DPS will need to kill the Data Cores within the allotted time. Interrupting the cast will bring the shields back up and stop all DPS on the Data Core. Tanks and healers need to ensure that the ads do not interrupt the color pair. Blue phase has 70 seconds to kill Data Cores. During the blue phase, waves of 2 recognizers will spawn and can be easily killed by healers and tanks. After the second Data Core is killed, the next phase will begin. Master Controller begins the countdown immediately, so the next color pair needs to be ready. Orange has 60 seconds to complete, and 2 champion regulators will spawn. Regulators have a frontal AE and a frontal knockback. Tanks should be careful to ensure that the knockback does not hit the channeling person or knock the other person out of the circle. During the orange phase, our DPS ignore the regulators and concentrate on killing the Data Cores within the allotted time limit. For all colors and all phases, ads will always spawn from the east door. Purple has 50 seconds to complete and spawns waves of recognizers. We purposely fail the purple phase to give the DPS time to kill off the regulators and get cooldowns back for the yellow phase. We kill 1 Data Core immediately, then kill the regulators from orange in the rest of the time allotted for purple. When purple fails, a champion rectifier will spawn and the countdown for purple will immediately begin again. The rectifier has a frontal cone attack and should be faced away from the raid. He also randomly throws blue discs into the raid. We found that stacking up behind the rectifier for heals was the easiest way to minimize damage from the discs. As soon as the rectifier is dead, the purple team should activate the panel and the DPS should burn down the last data core. Yellow has 50 seconds to complete and will spawn 2 champion regulators. DPS should continue to focus on the data cores and kill the regulators only during the transition to Phase 2. When the last data core dies, Master Controller becomes targetable. A tank will need to pick him up immediately because he can easily one-shot a DPS. The DPS should destroy the leftover regulators and then switch to the Master Controller. Anyone that does not have their obtuse debuff needs to finish killing their probes at this point as well. The raid should try and spread out in the inner circle while DPSing the boss to minimize the amount of movement required for this phase. When colored circles appear, stack in your color until it disappears. A single person can clear the entire pair if required. Standing in the wrong color will cause you to take damage, so try not to do it. Do not stand inside of Master Controller's shield during this part of the fight. After the colored circles are done, he will target a player with some color deletion protocol. That person will have a colored circle underneath them. Somebody with the matching color obtuse buff must stand on top of that player. The targeted player should stay still and let the covering player come to him. If 2 players try and cover, both will lose their obtuse buff, so make sure to communicate who will be covering. Baki will shortly be covering Suresh for a deletion protocol. I've highlighted what the obtuse debuff looks like. Do not try to cover if you do not have this. Once you've covered, the debuff will disappear. The fight repeats these 2 mechanics until he dies. I've increased the speed for the rest of the video. This fight took us roughly 10 minutes to complete. For more information, please visit the written guide at postmortem-guides.com.